Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a hump day edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Digging the lime green ProCharge shirt. All right, y'all. Happy hump day. 1 day away from the start of LSU fall camp. Tigers will be on the practice field Thursday morning. Excited for it. Also exciting, if you noticed in the description today, Tigers land a commitment from four-star tight end JD LaFleur. JD LaFleur is LSU All-American tight end and first-round draft pick David LaFleur. So always cool when LSU lands a legacy, right? In the same way that it was cool when Sharif O'Neal came to LSU, or Josh Maravich played basketball, or when Walker Howard committed and signed. It obviously helps when they're also really good players, and J.D. LaFleur is that. So he's a rising junior, so class of 2025, but already one of the top tight ends in the country, one of the top players in the state of Louisiana. So, big get already for Brian Kelly in the class of 2025. So 2024 is trucking along, and they're already getting started on 2025. He's the third commit for 2025. I know I laughed about this earlier in the week, but I just don't know how anybody thought Brian Kelly wouldn't recruit at LSU. I mean, it's Louisiana. JD LaFleur did an interview, I believe, with 24/7, and he was talking about how much the offer means to him and his family, how he was growing up going to LSU games and always wanted to play for LSU. It's the same story for all of us. You know, just not all of us are good enough to play at LSU, but the ones that are get to live that dream. So, yeah, JD LaFleur is third commit for 2025. He's a four-star. He is rated by On3 as the 9th best player in Louisiana, 13th best tight end in the country. He's rated by On3 as, I'm sorry, it was 247. He's rated by On3 as the 13th best player in the state. So, onward, really cool too, man. David LaFleur, I know y'all remember David LaFleur, but David was the tight end at LSU, and that transition from Hallman to DiNardo, and was there for Bring Back the Magic in '95, and then 96, of course, was a 10-win season when they went 10-2, beat Clemson in the Peach Bowl, and I believe that was 10-7, if I'm not mistaken, that Clemson Peach Bowl game back in '96. But David LaFleur, then after that '96 season, went into the draft, and of course was a first-round draft pick of the Dallas Cowboys. And anyway, now his son will become an LSU, which is really cool. All right, let's say some good morning, see what y'all got, fire away. You know the drill. YouTube, please smash that like button. Subscribe up to the channel if you're new. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. Kelly Gross, good morning. Bart St. Germain, how many SEC wins do you think LSU will have this season? Yeah, Bart, I'm saying that they're going to go 7-1. Everyone's going to ask me, what's the loss? I don't know. The most obvious one will be on the road at Bama, although I think Bama has real issues this year, and I think LSU's flat out better than Alabama. It is a road game that's tough. Tigers do play back-to-back road games as well this year, which it is very hard to go back-to-back road games in the SEC and win them. The Tigers are at Ole Miss and then at Missouri in back-to-back weeks. And then after those back-to-back road games, they come home to play Auburn and then Army. I think that's a really underrated stretch of the season. I love that you get Auburn, Florida, and A&M all at home, but the Auburn spot is tricky. Florida State obviously is a really good team, and I think LSU is an early 2.5-point favorite in that game. I'm just betting that it's just so hard to run the table in the conference that you stub your toe somewhere. Maybe it's at Alabama, maybe it's that Auburn game that I mentioned, maybe it's at Ole Miss. But if you go 11-1, and you win the West, you go to Atlanta and you have a shot. You get a swing at Georgia, most likely, or Tennessee, for a chance to win the SEC and go to the playoff. And I think LSU is going to be in that conversation in late November. Bubba Smith, good morning. Carson Stevenson, Jim Arsenault, Kirk Taylor, good morning. Sean Michael Habetz, good morning from Bozeman, Montana, 55 degrees. Ready for some football now. I won't be able to breathe when I get back to the boot. Man, if you're living in 55 right now, dog, it's going to be oppressive when you get back down here. There ain't no doubt. Devin Johnson, good morning. My hometown is Sulphur, shining bright. Yes, sir. Kid is massive, plays physical, huge pickup for the Tigers. Devin, I'm curious. Maybe about a year ago, somebody on Morning Scone asked me about JD LaFleur. I'm wondering if it was you. But somebody asked me about a year ago, and I went and asked Shea Dixon about him. I did follow up, and he didn't have an offer at the time. I didn't realize he was just a sophomore, in the beginning of sophomore year maybe. But yeah, somebody here at Morning Scone asked me about JD LaFleur and put him on my radar a year ago. And sure enough, guy kept getting bigger and developing. He's already 6. JD LaFleur is already, I think he's 6. Let's say he's like 6'6", 220. 6'6", 230. He's listed at 6'6", 230. So with that body at 6'6", at 16 years old, he's going to be able to put on more weight. So how much bigger they want him to get. Brian Kelly loves them tight ends, man. I shared this yesterday on AFR. Brian Kelly in his time at Notre Dame had 9 tight ends drafted. Okay, so that's from, he took the job in 2010. So from then until 2021, Brian Kelly had 9 tight ends drafted. By comparison, since David LaFleur and Nicky Savoie were drafted in 1997, LSU has had a total of 4 tight ends drafted since David LaFleur. It's incredible. It's just not a position that LSU has emphasized. I mean, think about it. For a decade, people would call radio shows asking why Les Miles didn't throw the ball to the tight end. I mean, that was like an ongoing joke. Like, why don't they give the ball to Tommy Banks? Why don't they throw the ball to the tight end? I remember when Les got fired, the first game LSU played after Les got fired, if I'm not mistaken, it was Missouri. I'm pretty sure that it was Missouri. And I think if it wasn't the first offensive snap, it was the first offensive series. They threw a pass to Deshaun Smith. It's another Southwest Louisiana kid. Threw a really good athletic tight end. Threw a pass to Deshaun Smith on the left side, and he rumbled for about 30 yards. And it was this massive ovation. I want to look that up now. Hang on, let me see if I can find that route. Just give me 2 seconds, see if I can look this up, because I can go right to it. Because Les, of course, was fired. Les was fired after Auburn, so that was after week 4. So let's see. Schedule 2016. All right, here we go. Les was fired after Auburn. The next week was Missouri, 42-7. LSU wins. Now let me check the play-by-play. Hang on. LSU wins 42-7 after Les got fired. Play-by-play. All right, Missouri got the ball first and punted. Then LSU. Okay, so it wasn't the first series. First play of the game, pass complete to Traven Durrell for 11 yards. Then they went 3 and out and punted after that. The second drive, threw to Foster Morrow for 7 yards. Malachi Dupree for 9. Am I dreaming this? Maybe I'm dreaming this, yo. Jazz Ferguson, 10 yards. I would have sworn they threw a pass to the tight end and everybody went crazy. Yo, maybe I'm dreaming. I could see it in my mind's eye, but maybe not, y'all. Maybe I'm dreaming. I know there was an ovation for that. I wonder if it was a different game. Let's see if Deshaun Smith had a catch in that game. Nope, did not have a catch in that game. Colin Jeter had one for 18 yards. That may be what I'm thinking of. Anyway, okay. All right, y'all, let's keep going. See, sometimes your memory deceives you. Brian Pinn, good morning. Strong Side, good morning. Spurge, good morning. Weston Weaver, good morning. Juan is JD LaFleur, good. Also, thanks for the hangover tip. Sunday was rough. We were doing the show on Sunday, and Juan popped on. I was like, I'm so hungover. Got any suggestions? I was like, orange juice and Advil. Trivia Carter, good morning. All right, Brad, how was Les always able to recruit so many good wide receivers when the passing game was so bad every year? Yeah, it's bizarre, but the answer is because he got into the NFL because they were really good all-around receivers. When they came, they learned how to block. They learned the route tree. They learned, obviously we're athletic enough to come to LSU. And so even though the numbers weren't always good, the receptions and all the statistics, they would go to the combine, they'd test off the charts, they'd be in interviews with teams, and they knew the whole route tree. They were fundamental route runners. That's why. A guy like James Wright is the sort of that standard. Like James Wright got drafted after not having a single catch in his final season. So that's why. Guys like Odell and Jarvis and Ruben Randall. Just go down the list. It was all a bunch of dudes that came to LSU and learned how to play the position. It wasn't just athletes. Like the contrast is Tyron Johnson. If you remember Tyron Johnson, he was a 5-star out of Warren Easton in New Orleans. And one of the top receivers in the country. And I called some of his high school games. When I was calling games, he played against Catholic, and then I also called some playoff games for TV that I think I called like a Warren Easton East Jeff game, I want to say. And he was just faster and more athletic than everybody. So much of the offense was just throw it up and let Tyron go get it. But he gets to LSU, and there's an expectation that you're going to block and you're going to know the route tree, and he didn't, because in high school it was just very different. What the ask of him was. So he transferred, went to Oklahoma State, and played in a wide open spread, pass happy offense, and he did well in that offense. But that's why receivers in Les's offense always projected to the next level, because they were. It's like you go to Hawaii and see a guy that, in June Jones's, fun and gun offense, have a whole bunch of stats, but can he really play the position? It's more than just running and catching. Stephen Fry, good morning. Mike the Tiger 2023 Natty Champs. People hate on Brian Kelly because they think it's 1988. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Solar Flares, good morning. Brad David, do you like Lou Holtz when he was on ESPN? Did you like Lou Holtz when he was on ESPN? Yeah, I thought Lou Holtz and Mark May they were interesting. They were entertaining. Jason H, Tiger Diver, Bailey C. Look at Scone with the new thumbnail. How about it, Bailey C? Yes, so if you're watching on YouTube, so here's the thing. There was a thumbnail, a Morning Scone thumbnail now on YouTube. So, if you watch any of our 104.5 ESPN content on YouTube, you'll notice there is a very, very intentional strategy around all of our YouTube stuff. That is not by mistake, and I'm going to take credit for it. Because a few years ago, is a long way of talking about your comment. A few years ago, if you remember, when we built the video studio at 104.5 ESPN, we had, you probably won't remember this actually, because very few of you actually downloaded this app. We had an app that was the Watch 104.5 ESPN app. It was our own app. So we developed an app where we streamed our own video. You could watch clips and all that stuff. And what we found in time was our conversion was very low. People weren't actually downloading the app and watching on the app because, and ultimately what we found was we're asking people to change their habits. People were already on YouTube and Twitch and other platforms. So it was like, why are we asking people to move their attention from where they already are? Let's just put our content where the people are. And so we moved to YouTube. And that's when I did a deep, like dozens of hours into YouTube's algorithm and all this sort of stuff. And so that's why all of our channels are separated to like AFR LSU, AFR Saints, OTB LSU, OTB Saints, because it's weird. Like the YouTube algorithm doesn't even recognize just LSU, for example. Like if you look at the AFR LSU YouTube channel, there's no LSU baseball or basketball in there because the algorithm sees that and they're like, wait a minute, I thought you were a football channel. Why are you posting baseball here? So it just suppresses any other content that's not LSU football. It's also interesting when you deep dive into the numbers, you realize like the people watching aren't by and large our radio audience. It's people who are seeing those videos based on search. I was walking into Walgreens the other day. I swear to God, I was walking into Walgreens by the house, and some guy stops me and goes, "Hey, you're the Saints guy from YouTube." I'm like, yeah, man, how's it going? And I was like, hey, do you realize like that's not, I'm not like a YouTuber, like that's my radio show. He was blown away, had no idea. I was like, yeah, man, so I do a 3-hour radio show and we clip it and we repurpose all that content on the Saints and LSU YouTube channels, all that stuff. Guy was blown away. Like he had no idea that I'm a radio host. So anyway, I guess my point is, this is a long deviation, but I've known for a long time, years, literally years, how to grow a YouTube channel. And I've done it very, very well for guarantee with all of the ESPN channels. I don't want to take total credit, like, because obviously there's so many people that do work on it, that edit the thumbnails and clip the videos and post and engage and all this. So I don't want to take, but like as far as the strategy, I did develop the strategy. I will 100% say that. And so I know the strategy, and I've helped enact that at Guarantee. I've just never done it on my own YouTube channel, which is really weird. Like the biggest mistakes, like the two things that people look for the most are on YouTube search are thumbnail and title. And every day my thumbnail is just like the selfie shot that I do for the thumbnail on YouTube. That's a terrible thumbnail. So I finally was like, you know what, Erica's always on Canva. I mean, you'll see all the stuff she does. It's like, make me a graphic that I can use for a thumbnail. So she did that last night. So every day, the very long way of saying, Bailey, that moving forward, I will now have a new thumbnail every day for Morning Scone. And then I have to decide what I'm going to do as far as video content, like produced video content, not just live content, because I got 12,000 subs on this YouTube channel, and so I could start putting out better content on this aside from just Morning Scone, and so I will. So look for that. See, Bailey, you took me way down a rabbit hole. Many of y'all didn't know we were going down today, nor did you care to go down. Okay. Kirk Taylor, what comes out of the meeting between Alvin Kamara and Roger Goodell? I think I don't think Kamara is going to get 6 games, but I do think he's going to be suspended. Maybe 2 or 3. Charlie Cavell, what's going on, man? Good morning. Earl, good morning. Will Jesse James make the cut? I can't see it, Earl. So that's a tight end with the Saints. Really hard for me to imagine that happening. because Jimmy Graham would be your fourth tight end. Like, Juwan Johnson, Foster Moore are making the team. Taysom Hill is listed as a tight end, even though he's not really a true tight end. And then you've got Jimmy Graham as well, who everybody seems to think is going to make the team, is playing well so far. So you're not keeping a fifth guy at that position. I'm surprised they potentially keep a fourth. Gary, good morning. Gary Atchison, Wade Blanchard, Jacob Willis. What's up, Jacob Willis? Good morning. Kirk Taylor, I love the app. Jeremy Ballas, when are you putting Russ back on AFR? Week before the season. Russ Mitchell will return, provided he doesn't ghost us like he did most of last year. Josh DeVilliers, it's been a while. What up, Matt? The change from 1 year ago to now is absolutely crazy. I would assume you're talking about LSU football. Yeah, I mean, a year ago at this time, gearing up for year one under Brian Kelly. Remember, a year ago at this time, most of you kept trying to convince me that Miles Brennan was going to be the starting quarterback when I kept telling you they didn't bring Jaden Daniels in to not start. Yeah, Scone never gets anything right, though, huh? Anyway, just joking. But yes, dramatically different reality. Garrett Dellinger was playing center, remember? They were cross-training 5 different guys at center trying to figure out who was going to snap the football. Ultimately, Charles Turner came through and won that job and played pretty well last year. Marlon Martinez gave him reps at center as well. But yes, to your point, it's just, last year was nothing but question marks at this point. And there was so little that you actually knew about your team a year ago. With all the transfers, all the uncertainty, new coach, new staff, new everything. Very, very different reality this year. Quentin Breakbill, Jeff McKithen, good morning. Rooney, what's going on, man? Green shirt today, yellow shirt yesterday. So Rooney's over there at Sunshine. By the way, Rooney, I wanted to tell you, man, I took a video. So when I went to Sunshine on Friday, they were so great. Rooney, when I met him, had like a toy. We had two toy tractors, John Deere tractors, and one of them was for the AFR set. So Sunshine is now the Tuesday title sponsor of AFR, and so he gave me one to put on the set on Tuesdays, which I had up there yesterday. I think it's heavy too, by the way. And then he gave me one for Drew. And the one for Drew, like, there are buttons on the top, it lights up and it makes sounds, like the engine sounds, and plays music. And man, it usually takes him a little while to like get acclimated to it and comfortable with a toy, to actually notice it, engage with it. But as soon as I put that down by him, like, he just started holding on to it and moving it and pushing the buttons on top. So like, he was playing with it immediately. So it was pretty cool. I took a video of it. So anyway, so thank you again for that. That was very thoughtful, and he loved it. Josh DeVilliers, let's see, Earl, Matt loved the green look this morning. Yes, sir. Thank you, bro. It's a Pro Charge shirt, by the way. So shout out Pro Charge. That business is crazy. Like, just looking at all the EV infrastructure that's coming up and going up, and I don't think there's just like one day we're all going to wake up and like EVs are going to be 70% of the vehicles on the road. I mean, it's going to be a very gradual thing, like over the next decade, but all of the auto manufacturers they're all mass producing EVs, and they're getting orders for them faster than they can produce them. So as that goes, you're going to need more EV chargers. So that's where ProCharge steps in, really ahead of the curve. And man, they're doing some great stuff. ProChargeEV.com. I'm going to say this again. If you're a business owner, you've got to have an EV charger, at least one at your property, for customers, for employees, as an amenity for employees, and then also just as a revenue generator. I mean, the crazy thing is, like, if you're driving, it's just stuff I've learned, like if you're driving an EV, the dash is smart, and it knows, it's mapped where EV chargers are, like where the nearest charger is. And so it will bring you to the nearest charger. So like, there's a tap to pay option on those chargers. So if someone needs to fill up, or like in the same way that you'd fill up with gas if you need a charge, Like they just come, they tap to pay, and then you get paid on that charge. So it's also passive revenue for your company. I tell you all the time, like I don't care if you like EVs or whatever, have any opinion. It don't matter at all. Like the reality is, they're coming. It's like if you own a grocery store and you don't drink beer, you're an idiot if you don't sell beer. But you still got to sell beer, even if you don't drink it. So even if you don't drive an EV, and there's all these government grants and stuff, like they're paying for a lot of the infrastructure and whatever. So check it out, prochargersb.com. Okay, let's see. Gonna move quickly here. Smash that like button, YouTube. Steve Blanchard, morning, Matt, from Eureka Springs, Arkansas, or Arkansas. Last vacation before the kids start school, surrounded by hogs. Chewy balls. I definitely remember Deshaun Smith catching catches going up once Les was fired. Read rule, LSU BYU in the dome. We lined up an I formation, audible to shotgun, first play. Crowd went crazy. I think it was Ed's first full season. Yeah, that was, we knew, you know what that was? It was Ed's first full season, 2017, but that was Matt Canada. Because Matt Canada did all the crazy shifting. Remember, like, you'd shift half the line, and that's why everyone was like, oh, because we talked all offseason about Matt Canada with these crazy formations. So the first play they did it, everybody went crazy. Brian Penton, I think he was talking about the last Notre Dame national play. Oh, that makes sense. Ransom Antoine, morning, Matt. To piggyback on kids never having a bad recruiting trip, 2004 official basketball visit to Nichols. Got there at 7, was ready to go at 7:10. It was the worst. Ransom Antoine, if I could. There's a big difference between being a basketball recruit at Nichols 20 years ago and a football recruit at LSU today. I think we understand what I mean. No disrespect, but you understand what I mean. Robert Potts, love the deep dive on YouTube algorithms. You definitely have to use what's there. People won't change habits for content. I'm more about morning scone guy than AFR, but understand both. Cool, all good, man. Hey, Robert, the reason I put out so much content in every different format is I just firmly believe that you have to be where your audience is, when they want you there, and in what form and format. So if it's live video, short form video, long form video, live audio, short form audio, clips, podcasts, whatever, it's there. I am omnipresent in media. I am everywhere. And that is very intentional. So if you love Morning Scone, great. Love to see you here every day. Tiger Diver, do you think the Florida game could be a trap game after Bama? Yeah, I mean, I always think there's a letdown for that. I just don't think Florida's going to be any good this year. And you get that game at home. I think, look at Florida's schedule. That is just a brutal run for Florida. There's I think their projected win total is 6.5. Go look at Florida's schedule and find me 7 wins. Find me 7 games where you take out your Sharpie and you scribble a W. And by the way, for Florida, that's they play Georgia, Arkansas, at LSU, at Missouri, Florida State to finish. So where the LSU game falls on the schedule for Florida isn't exactly easy either. Okay, let's see any more. What's 8:03? Robert Potts, did you see the new Garth live video of Colin Baton Rouge? That's to be the loudest, fullest the stadium has ever been. I did. LSU did a really good job with that montage. All of LSU's video production stuff is awesome. They've just done a great job. Ever since Will Stout back in 2019 just broke the internet with all those hype videos. They've just done a great job carrying that forward. Jason H., which shoes are those, Matt? Where? Which shoes are what? Which shoes are what? I don't see shoes. Sorry. I mean, I'm wearing slippers right now, as a matter of fact. So I don't have sneakers on right now. Like I'm literally wearing shorts and slippers. Because I'm about to go do yoga. I need to stretch my. Hang on, Drew's backpack's beeping. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, a couple more minutes. As always, shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing. Need an orthopedics, go to Brock. Need a roof, give us a shout out to Hudco. Antron Hemingway, good morning. Tim Gotro, good morning. Jonathan Martin, what's going on? TC, normal Scone T tonight or via Zoom again. You know, TC, I need to check. I really don't know. Oh, Jason asked if you're messing with laces. No, that's just a phone charger. I was just coiling up a phone charger. Sorry, Dave. Only a sneakerhead would think those are laces. Good catch, though. TC, I need to check with T-Bob. I know T-Bob was out of town with his family. I don't know if they're back in town yet. He's off of air all week. T-Bob's off from radio all week. Hester's back on air tomorrow. But I don't know if T-Bob's back in town. So I'll check, but if not, I might be solo again. I don't know if he'll be on Zoom or if I'm solo, but I'll figure that out with T-Bob today. And I'll make a post about it so everybody knows. Couple more. Josh DeVilliers, let's see. Earl. All right, last one, Josh. I've seen that Noah's going to be the starter. Really thought it would have been Logan Diggs. I guess talking about Noah Kane. Yeah, I don't think that's the case. If you ask me who's getting the first carry, it's going to be Josh Williams. So I think the bigger question is, who emerges. And you may have a situation where, if one player continues to emerge and prove himself to be the best back, then he'll get the lion's share of the carries. But, you're looking at Josh Williams, Noah Kane, John Emery, Armani Goodwin is back off of injury. You brought in Logan Diggs. You got Trey Bradford returning, and then the 2 freshmen. That's 8 running backs. 8. I don't know how you feed 8 mouths at that position. And I don't think you can. I think it's going to be, you're going to see probably 3 guys really emerge. And it's tricky because Josh Williams would be the most obvious. And then John Emery, who's back for his senior year. We know John's physical ability. Noah Kane has really got his body in shape, which is really encouraging. And then you brought in Logan Diggs, and I'll say about Logan Diggs the same thing that I said about Jaden last year. You didn't bring in Logan Diggs to not play him, and and he came to a place where you have a where he came to a place where you had a deep room. So anyway, we'll sort that out tomorrow. We'll start fall camp on Thursday. I'll be out there, and they're giving us, we get to watch like more than an hour practice. So I'm excited, and Brian Kelly will talk with the media after practice. So I'm excited about it. Fall camp is here. Of course, we'll have you covered. So be locked in. Rooney, the tractor on set, is a replica of an 8R and not intended to play with. Rooney, the crazy thing is, man, that thing is heavy. Like, we're taking it out of the box yesterday to put it on the set. I was like, man, this thing. Like, I ultimately had to just rip the box because we're about to start the show. I'm like, I just had to rip the box and roll. But not that I needed to save the box. But yeah, man, that thing is heavy duty. So anyway, if y'all are watching, when you watch on Tuesdays, you'll see the replica 8R John Deere on set. That thing has to weigh 10 pounds, easy. It's a replica track, easy, weighs 10 pounds, maybe more. Okay, I gotta bounce. Y'all have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching. And let's see, LSU Daily is live already, AFR 3. We'll see y'all then. And all right, peace. Peace.